All right, I think we're live. I think we're back at it here.
Back in the studio.
Doing it live makes me a little nervous, actually.
Really? I feel like it feels the same.
I I just posted a live video for 3 minutes
Mm-hmm.
of me like bent over the couch like that.
Yeah, your butt sticking out? Plumber butt?
No, but it was the same T-shirt that I've worn the last 3 days in a row.
Don't we all do that? Come on, people. Let's admit it. I have
Yeah.
my outfit. I have my home outfit. That's it. It's like my uniform. My at-home uniform, you know? My cat t-shirt. Cat with the $100 bills flying
Oh
around.
yeah, that cool. Man. Sometimes I worry though, like if you're getting judged, like if you're
Of
judging
course
me,
you're getting judged. Oh, you're worried I judge you
yeah,
about what you're wearing?
yeah. I'm like, oh, she knows I've worn this T-shirt the last 3 days in a row.
Dude, I don't care. You could wear it for the rest of your life. I still love you. No problem.
As long as I didn't smell.
I had the days of you dressed up GQ. So, so there was like 10 years, right, where like you wore a suit 7 days a week, like you were
Sunday, yeah.
fully dressed all the time, looking really slick and fine. So I have that imprinted in my memory.
All right, let's get right into this, okay? There's no fucking around here. Let's get right into this.
I don't know if you're. Well, this is going to be a good to see if we can swear on Facebook Live.
Okay, I'm not going to swear anymore.
No, no, it's good because my book event launch, I have a lot of F words
Mm.
that I'm going to be saying because it's in my book. Pieces that I'm reading from my book, it has the F word at least 6 times in the pieces I picked, which is kind of surprising because, but I guess I picked pieces that were kind of juicy.
Yeah.
But it's just surprising that I use that word so often because it's not like I say. I don't feel like I swear a lot in general. I swear a lot in my head for sure, and I also swear a lot when things are going wrong. But
Do you,
like just generally in my language, I don't feel like I swear a lot.
do you think I swear a lot?
You do, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
I had no idea.
You know you do.
Yeah.
You own it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into this podcast here, and I want to start off with telling you about some shit you do that pisses me off.
What?
Okay. You ready? You think we're actually going to get into a fight on this thing?
It's possible.
Yeah. Especially this week for us
It's
with your book coming out. You're doing okay. So before I get into the thing that pisses you off, that pisses me off about that you do, um, let's give the audience a bit of a, our 6 viewers. Let's give them a bit of a precursor to what's going on. You wrote a book about your life,
yeah.
and it's like this, like some nasty shit in there,
It's detailed.
detailed about like your worst, your deepest, darkest,
Secrets.
that you like thought you wouldn't tell anyone about, and now you wrote a fucking book and you're telling
I would
everyone.
never tell my husband.
And there's negative stuff in the book about family members,
Well,
in-laws.
no, negative. Like
Yeah, but you know what I
there's
mean.
truths in there, and some people, it's going to be a little bit painful, but always when we speak the truth, then good comes from that. So there's nothing.
Yeah.
I don't throw anyone under the bus.
No,
Let's
but
just
there's
say
people that are gonna read it that maybe not like it, and that's weighing on you.
But that's people in general, anyways. Like some people will read it and it's going to trigger them, or it's going to, yeah, make them feel like, why is she sharing this stuff? It's too personal. She shouldn't be doing that.
No, okay,
Okay.
so hold on, let me get through this. The problem right now with us is that you are under like extreme,
Pressure.
and you actually told me the other day because we got into a fight, another fucking fight, and you said to me, I don't understand the magnitude of what's coming with your book.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that was kind of fucking stupid to say to me, but I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I guess I can see that there could be some truth to that. And I think the magnitude is you're releasing this book that like says you did a whole bunch of nasty shit. Right? There's a lot of sexual nasty, there's a lot of other nasty. There's just a lot of nasty stuff that most people, that if they did that stuff, they would never fucking tell anyone, not a single soul, and you're writing about it and putting it out in the open. Plus, there's stuff in there that you're worried some people are going to read it that are part of the family that are going to be mad at you. And I think that's putting some pressure on you, right? Like weighing on you.
No,
And
but I think maybe mad, but yeah, maybe hurt. Like I know Yeah.
So then you have this book launch coming up on Saturday, which is where you're launching the book and it needs to be done live. That's a big reason of why we're doing this live podcast, so I know how to do it.
Well, it doesn't need to be live, but I want it to be
No, I
live
know.
because it makes
Yeah.
it exciting.
Yeah.
And more people can come to the book launch.
So, and you wanted it streamed to YouTube and Facebook at the same time, which is a whole other fucking thing. And I had to learn all about this.
Because you're so amazing.
Oh, thank you. And so, and you're treating this book launch like it's a wedding day, like it's the birth of a child. Like,
It's a wedding, yeah. I was actually having lunch with my girlfriend yesterday, and I said to her, like, this feels like my second wedding.
yeah, right? So, with all that pressure,
That's a lot of pressure.
there, you know, when things start to get some pressure on them, other things start to feel the pressure too.
The seams start coming.
And that's me, right?
Yeah.
But this is some shit that you did way before. Like, this is like right from the beginning. And I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I'm down here trying to get the podcast set up.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to start at 3.
Yeah.
And you're upstairs doing your thing. Working hard.
I
You're upstairs
actually
working
did
hard.
work
Okay, I know. But, and instead of like coming to me, and I remember we actually went to the therapist and brought this shit up. Right? And so instead of like coming down and saying, hey, what's going on? Do you need any help? Because like I'm trying to, like I'm doing it. I come upstairs. I'm like, you know, why didn't you come down and check on me, see what's going on? I thought we were doing it upstairs. I'm like, why the fuck would we do it upstairs? All the stuff is set up down here.
Because we have internet better upstairs. So for live streaming, it makes sense to do it upstairs. And let me just say that this morning, while I was working all morning, at the same time as taking care of 3 kids, you were riding your bike. So, sorry that you were down here struggling on your own.
What about yesterday when you went out the whole day?
This morning,
What about when you were gone the whole day yesterday?
riding your bike.
For 2 hours. You were gone out all day yesterday. I was with the kids.
Don't even.
What?
You were with the kids?
I was with the kids
You
for.
had a babysitter here.
I was with the kids for a good point.
You were at home, and there was a babysitter here. You did not the kids. First of all, 2 of them were in forest school all day. The baby was here with the babysitter.
Our youngest one makes up for 4 kids. Okay, so hold on. Let's get back to the
You did
shit
like
bit.
an hour with
Okay, so
2
the
hours. You did 2 hours.
okay, so the thing that okay, so I remember the therapy session we went to, and this is like Leonard. So it must have been like 2010, 2011, 2010, 2011, right?
We were in therapy then.
Yeah.
That was our first therapist.
Right? And I remember going there and saying, like, what would piss me off is the same thing. It's like, you know, we need to leave at 2:00, and you do it with the dinner, like when the dinner's ready. So it's like I know, and like so, what'll happen if it's like my thing, like you're coming to something that's important to me, or it's more important to me that we're going to it than it is to you. You'll use me as the clock.
Yeah.
You won't be like look at the clock. Okay, we need to be there at 2. John said we need to be there at 2. I'm just gonna wait until he tells me to leave. So you like won't be right. So I'll need to be like, hey, it's coming up. It's 1:30. You ready? It's 10 to 2. You ready?
Yeah.
It's 1:45. You ready?
That's true.
Right? But if I didn't say anything, right? Like and I remember I tested it. It tested it one time. I'm like, okay, we need to leave, right? And I'm like sitting in my office and I'm like watching the clock, and I knew we had to leave at like 1:00, let's say, right? And I remember watching the clock and like 5 to 1. I'm like, she isn't doing anything, right? And then every fucking minute after 1:00, I just got more and more mad. I'm like, why isn't she saying anything, right? And then in your head, you would just let it go. You'd be like, I guess we're not going. Fuck it, right?
That's true. But when it's my thing, yeah, I like to be ready to go for sure.
The problem with it.
It's because when we first started our relationship, you were so time organized that
Yeah.
you would always give me the heads up. So then once you start giving me
No, that's the
those
problem.
cues, then I'm like expecting them.
It's true. I see it happens on my end too, because like if I'm busy and I'm working all the time, or like it isn't even that. If I'm focused, I'm like a focused person. I'm always thinking about something. I'm always focused on something, right? So if you are like, oh, we got that thing on Friday, it's at 2:00. If you don't give me the check-ins leading up to it,
Mm-hmm.
like if you tell,
you'll be like, what are you talking
if you told me on Monday, or even if you told me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every day you told me once a day, and then you didn't say anything from Monday all the way to Friday, I'd probably forget about it. Unless it was like something fucking crazy, like your book launch or...
But that's the thing. We know that about each other. So you know if it's your thing, you got to give me the 30-minute heads up. Babe, we're leaving in 30 minutes.
No, I need to be like telling
And
you
then
every
the
day.
5 minutes heads up. No, I'll remember the day. See, I'm not like you. We're opposites like that. I'll remember the day. If you tell me something a week ago, Friday you have something, I'll remember. But I need the heads up leading into it. Whereas you, I know you. I got to tell you every day. And then I got to tell you the morning of. That,
Night
hey,
before,
babe, we
night
got this
before,
thing.
night before.
Yeah. So that's just how we work. That's
Yeah.
That's our clock schedule.
So like figuring it out, like I mean it's a good point. Like figuring out how we work and like, you know, I think what it comes back to is like actually wanting the relationship to work.
Yeah. Because why sit, like you said, and wait until it's 1 o'clock and then 1:01 and 1:02, 1:03, 1:04 and then get angry.
Yeah.
What's the point in doing that?
Yeah.
If you love me and we're going to have a healthy relationship, then why allow yourself to go to that place? If you know I need the half-hour heads up, then give it to me and then we can leave happy family. Right?
That's why all
I think
the...
a lot of people do that kind of thing though.
No, it's
right?
true.
Yeah.
It's because I think what happens is you get into this like zone of where you hate the person.
Yeah, and you think, oh, they don't care about my stuff. It's not true.
And if you're married with kids and you have a house and a mortgage and all these responsibilities, and you start hating the person, and then you can't leave.
And you feel like you have all the responsibility. I think that's a big thing in a marriage. Where one person, or both, like sometimes there's been times where we both feel like we're bearing so much of the responsibility, right? And it starts to build resentment.
No, I think in that situation, what happens to us, I don't feel like that until you do. Right? So, like, there's never a time where I'm like, oh, fuck, I got all this responsibility and they're leeching off of me and this and that.
I don't think that's true.
What do you mean?
I think you feel that some way sometimes.
No, but you gotta let me finish.
Okay.
You let me finish. That's some shit you do, too, where I can't get to the point. And I'm, like, trying to get my point out, and you, like, you keep cutting me off, and I just feel like, I don't care, and then I walk away. Like, I'm like, fuck. Just
I
let me...
think I know you so well.
Oh,
I
fuck.
finished the sentence for you.
I can't even fucking remember what I was saying now.
You were saying how, you were trying to say that you don't ever feel resentment.
No, that's okay. So it's not.
Towards me,
No.
unless I start to feel it first.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's true. I think resentment builds in you. Like if I'm doing my own thing, and I'm like starting to get my hustle on, let's say, and you know, I need extra help from you, but you're like, whoa, I'm already maxed out with the help I can give around the house, you will start feeling resentful. We both will. It's probably something that like actually vibes and bounces off
Yeah.
each other.
So it's like,
right?
yeah, it's what I'm saying. If you leave me,
It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going first with the
If you-
resentment.
if you
It's like
leave-
we're coming into the resentment together.
if you leave me alone, I don't get resentful,
No, never.
right?
I do try to do that as much as I can. I like to let you have your own space.
No,
Absolutely.
I think I agree with that.
You must agree with that. There's no way you couldn't. Like I really try to let you do your thing.
Well, I think we both do that.
Yeah, you do too to me for sure. And you have to. We're individuals. Like we're married, and of course, you know, we have so much responsibility. We've got the kids together. But you have to be an individual still. And when you lose your identity, and I've done this in our marriage, it's like with having babies, small babies, you can lose yourself so easily. And the resentment that you feel because of that is ugly. And that shit will lead to divorce for sure if you don't get it in check.
Well, it could just be simple as like, where are you going? Oh, you're going out with Julie? I fucking don't like Julie. What are you going out with Julie for? Right? You sure there's no guys there? Right? And then that creates lying on the woman's side. Or man, like if it's a girl. If it's a girl doing it to a guy or vice versa. Like, yeah, if you were always up on me, like, oh, you're going for a ride where you're not stopping at a coffee shop and you're not gonna meet up with that cyclist babe, are you? Right? Or, oh, yeah, hon, I'm just gonna go hang out with the guys, right? I'm gonna go see Trevor for a bit. Who's at Trevor's house? He has that neighbor, doesn't he? I would just start fucking lying. Right? Do you know what I mean? I would just start lying. I'd be like, I'm just gonna go for a walk in the woods by myself.
Yeah.
I would. Because I just like, cause a lie like that. I know lying isn't wrong, is wrong, and you should never do it. But like, if I was put, and I don't do it. But if I was at the point where like,
No, you would, and that's where breakdown in marriages starts happening. Is yeah, you would feel you would be pushed to lie because how else could you have your own space, your own time, your own friends?
and it's not like a lie like, oh,
To be secretive. It's
do you know what I
lies to
mean?
like have your own peace of mind.
Like, oh, like a lie like, oh yeah, everything's fine, finances are good, house is paid off, and then you find out the thing is mortgage are the fucking tits.
Yeah.
That's a fucking lie.
Oh yeah.
Right? But oh yeah, I'm going riding, and because you're crazy, I gotta say I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but no, and then that's where the deterioration starts.
Oh, for sure.
Do you know what I mean? Because then it's a little lie, and then but it's the resentment. It's exactly what you said. If you start resenting the person,
Yeah.
right? And I think we both have our struggles with things, and I think, like you said earlier, like when you start resenting me, I think where you start resenting me is with the babysitting. If we don't have babysitting, because there's been periods where like we don't like when we came back from the States, and COVID was on full lockdown.
Yeah. It's hard to find reliable babysitting where we are. Like to have someone come regularly, and we're just like out in the middle of the country.
And so then you start feeling like I'm stuck with the kids. And then that's where I get resentful. Because I'm like, I'll pay for the babysitter. I'll pay for the full-time nanny. Just fucking go get one. Like, what are you busting my balls for? Just get it. Like, come on. I can't live like this. And then you're like, if I didn't have those kids, I could do what I wanted. I'm like, fuck. So if you didn't have me or the kids, you could do what you want. And then when something like, I know I'm exaggerating. You don't say it exactly like that, but it's like kind of like that. And then when I hear that, I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Do you know what I could have? Right? But what's crazy about that is that thinking. Like if you think like that for too long,
Yeah. It's dangerous.
right? Like you get away with it for a bit, but like, you know, like 10, 15 minutes, like maybe half the day. But you get into that for too long,
Yeah. It's so dangerous
right?
because you'll start looking outside the marriage for.
Well, and then you'll feel like you're in a fucking prison.
Yeah.
I would. Right? But it's tough because, like, I don't know. I look at it like, and this may sound bad, but when I was younger, I was like a really jealous guy. Really, like, there was a point where I wasn't jealous, and then all of a sudden, I became really jealous because I knew that I was like getting cheated on and stuff, and I got fucked around. And then I realized, like, I heard Tony Soprano say something, right? And it sounds really rude, but he's like with his mistress. He's like, I don't care what you're doing when you're not with me,
Yeah.
right? And to a point, it's true. It's like I can't control what you're doing, and if you're gonna go out and be with some other guy,
Yeah.
like if I'm doing everything I need to do right, which is take care of you, give you love and affection, and you go out and be with some guy, fuck, I mean that's your own shit.
Yeah.
But I mean 99% of the time the other person has something to do with it.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting that you brought up jealousy actually, because I'm doing the 10 Days of Truths, and jealousy was going to be my truth today. But you know, I've been jealous in the past.
You've never been like that with me though.
No, no, this was a long time ago. I think everybody's experienced jealousy though, for sure. And you know, it's normal. I think that's kind of growing into yourself and kind of learning and just accepting that yeah, things are out of our control. That sometimes, right, we can't. And also with jealousy, I think like you know, being happy for other people, like when people are jealous.
Oh, that kind of jealousy?
Yeah, it's like why can't people just like support each other, lift each other up, help each other, like you know, and be happy. Like if something good is happening for someone else, why can't we just be happy for them?
Yeah.
That's a problem in our society is that you know people are looking at like oh what are they doing? What do they have? And it's just like you know I know for us like we always look to other people that are doing more or have more and are just like as role models and like oh wow you know okay maybe that's achievable for me too like it's a motivational thing but other people kind of I guess look at it like they get jealous about it right
Yeah. I'm just listening to that dog bark for the last 5 minutes. Um, when the dog barks, even if we're not doing the live podcast, I can't stand it. It's like it drives me up the wall. Like, what's he still barking at? I'm worried he's outside.
He is outside. The kids are in the backyard playing.
No, I know, but I'm worried he wants to come in or something. He's clawing away at the door. Anyways, I don't care. I'll paint that later.
It needs to be painted anyway, so.
I've painted that door like 5 times.
Door's gonna be. We need to get a steel plate, but anyways, that's for.
Yeah. So the issue with the judging people, I've really felt like so for me, when I was younger, I really felt like I was very judgmental, and I feel like I would say things and have no idea how much it would hurt people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of it came because I was jealous. Some of it came from I just wanted to be funny, and I would like laugh at my own jokes,
Yeah.
right? And it'd be like I would tell these stupid jokes that I was the only person that thought it was funny, and I just look back at stuff like that and I'm like, you're such a fucking asshole, man.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like only getting older, and I don't know what like changed in me or even when it was, but like if I see someone trying to do something, or like trying to like build a business or YouTube or whatever it is that they're doing, starting a new sport, or just putting themselves out there in any way, I really try and send them a message or do something and say, like, I mean, we don't need to go out and like repave someone's driveway to show them how much you care, but just send them a message, right? Or like just say, hey, what you're doing is really cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I really feel like if we just took the time to help each other, it would be such a better place for everyone.
Yeah.
But this feeling of like judging people
Yeah.
or hating someone because they did something that you can't, or they have something that you want, is such a backwards way of doing things.
Yeah.
It's just so backwards. It's like if my neighbor across the street had this really nice car,
Yeah.
right, that I loved, that I really wanted, right? Let's say I looked out the window, and let's say it's a brand new S-Class Mercedes, fully loaded. And let's say, because that's a car I've always wanted, let's say I look out the window, and I look at him with the car while he's washing it, and I'm like, that fucking asshole with that car. He's such a loser. How did he get that money? He must have got it from his dad. And then if he's old, he's an old fuck. He's worked his whole life, right? That's one scenario. Now let's say number 2. I went over and I said, I look out the window, I see him with his new car. I walk across the street and I go, hey, Bob, this is an amazing car. My dream car is to have a car like this one day,
Yeah.
right? I'm so happy for you. Because you got to think, you put them in their shoes, put yourself in that person's shoes. They must be happy,
Oh yeah.
right? So to say, wow, I'm really happy for you. You must have worked really hard for something like this, and I'm happy that you were able to get something so nice.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I take a look? Do you mind if I see it? Can I look and kind of sit down?
Yeah.
Can you take me for a drive? Like, imagine how much better you feel after an interaction like that,
Yeah.
right? What's
The
interesting?
other way is like you're putting poison in your own head. Like you think these negative thoughts toward the person is hurting them. Like you feel like, oh yeah, right? Like you're hurting them, but you're not. You're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
That's like that negative toxicity. Like you're training your brain to be negative,
Yeah.
and it only hurts you. It prevents you from moving forward and achieving your goals.
But I don't think it's a training thing. I think it's natural.
For people to have negative thinking.
Yeah. And jealousy. Like I felt it. Like
Yeah.
that. Like when I was younger, 100%. It comes into the mind. Like it's the first reaction.
But I think you can train it out.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I wrote a blog last week, I think, called The Power of Positivity. And I told a little story about how I went to this improv class. And we walk in and we have to do this like little 1-minute skit. We're in groups of 2 and 3. So my partner goes first and she has to pretend that she's telling me a story about going out to this evening function. and I have to, and she tells me things that went wrong, and I have to give negative response. So she's like, "Oh, I went there. I didn't like what I was wearing. I felt so uncomfortable." My negative response is, "Well, you always dress like shit. Of course, you didn't felt uncomfortable. You never look good." And then she says her husband, he wasn't spending time with her. I'm like, "Of course he wasn't. He's probably at the bar drinking with someone, right?" And I give negative feedback. Then we switch it, and I have to give positive feedback. So I say, "No, you probably look great. I bet everyone was wondering where you got your outfit. You're so unique. Oh, don't worry about your husband. He probably just needed some time to himself. He's such a great guy, right?" So then at the end of the session, the guy that's leading the group asks, "How many people here felt more comfortable giving the negative feedback?" Everybody put up their hand except for me.
Yeah.
I was the only person that felt more comfortable giving positive feedback. The negative feedback actually made me feel extremely uncomfortable and like made my stomach like twisted up in knots to actually say these words to her. I was shocked. And it was for me like, it's a group of people. I didn't know anybody there. And I just thought, wow, like this is what's going on in people's heads all day. They feel comfortable in the negative
Yeah.
conversation. No wonder so many people are suffering with depression, anxiety, fear, guilt, shame.
Yeah. I think we don't understand. Like, I heard this amazing study where I don't know how many people, they got like 1,000 people, right? Or 5,000 people. And they gave them each $1,000. And they said, take this $1,000 and go buy yourself a gift. Right? Then they came back 6 months later and they gave them $1,000 again. And they said, you have to go out and buy a gift for someone you love with $1,000.
Yeah.
And they came back again 6 months later. And they polled them and asked them all these questions. How long did you feel happy for? After the gift for yourself versus the person. And they asked them all these polling questions, and it was unanimous that they had longer lasting, more fulfilling happiness by buying a person a gift. Because the item that you buy yourself, you know how it goes. It's within it's gone. You know what I mean? And the bigger the thing is, longer it lasts. But I remember when we bought that big house, 6 months.
Yeah.
A car, brand new, nice $100,000 car. What, 6 months? So imagine a little purchase, $1,000. They said that they felt good about that up to a year later.
Giving it to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
Right? But when no one does it. I mean, I could do it more. I fucking promise you I could do it more.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like you feel awkward. Who are you going to call up and say, hey, buddy, I got you this gift? Right? You feel awkward.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think too, yeah, you have to be careful, like, with something like that, right? Because if someone couldn't reciprocate, that could make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. And I mean, I know I don't have all the answers. I look back to when I was younger and I really see some of the mistakes that I made and some of the, I feel like almost I have like a social like a social void or something. Like sometimes I'm in situations.
Yeah.
My cell phone is fucking this up. Like you've been there with me when I've like said things and I'm like, why did I say that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's what I fell in love with. Like, honestly, a lot of things come out of your mouth that, like, you just say what you're thinking a lot. You refine it more now, but when we first met, you really just, everything just came out that you were thinking. And I thought it was so refreshing. Like, even though some people may be a little bit offended or whatever, I just thought, but wow, like, you're just saying what you think. Like, how freeing and nice that must be. And I thought it was really attractive.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think that just like how you were so just easy to communicate with, and you loved talking and sharing what was on your mind. Like, so many people are so closed up and they're so scared to say anything. And like, yeah, you say things and sometimes it might get you not into trouble, but like where people disagree or, oh, you can't say that. But it's like, at least you're saying something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, most people are just, they're terrified to have an opinion.
Yeah.
And so I think it's absolutely refreshing, and I admire it personally.
Yeah. I think what's like interesting about doing these podcasts is like I have all these stories, right?
Yeah.
And most of the stories involve other people.
Yeah.
And so the problem is the only people that listen to the podcast are most of the people that are in these fucking stories. So like I've been finding like I've been worried like what to say on here and what not to say because I don't want to fucking piss anyone off.
Yeah.
Unless it's my dad, I don't give a fuck about him.
We know.
Right? But you know what I mean, right? And it's like, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's tough, like you know what I mean. I don't like as I get older and more mature, and I can like, I think maturity has to do with your perspective outside yourself. So the more you can see outside yourself, the more mature you get,
Yes.
right? And then so like I have all these funny and interesting stories I want to tell, but I don't want to fucking make anyone upset.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, we could filter them.
Yeah. Say different names. Tell a story about how I got myself in trouble. Yeah, I don't know.
That would be funny. You're making up names for stories.
They would figure it out though. I don't even need
No,
to say
they
names.
would, yeah,
They
of
need to
course.
say names. You know.
They would.
Yeah. So you think we'll be married forever, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
I believe in us.
Yeah.
Well, if we could get through everything we've gotten through up to this point, I think we're good.
Yeah.
I mean, what much more can happen?
Yeah. Well, I guess I could tell this story. All right, I'll do it. It's fucking live though, eh? Shit. I could delete it after. Anyways, so I think what brought me saying like worried about saying something is Monica, right? Like I found out recently that she was like
We're supposed to run by her first when we.
Oh, I'm not saying anything bad here. Don't worry. And I think when I found out that we hurt her feelings, that really hurt me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think a problem that I have is I come across as a guy that my feelings don't get hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like I think I would act angry or pissed off faster than I would act upset.
Yeah.
And
I think that's common amongst men, though. I think a lot of men, that might be something that's kind of just in them. They don't want to show those
Yeah.
like softer emotions,
yeah,
right? It's like a manly thing. You're angry or you're like distant, but you're not sad. You don't cry, right? Like it's kind of this thing that.
so what about her extended family? Do we have to run that by them before we talk about them?
Well, not by them, but maybe by her. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to her about that.
All right. We'll save that for the non-live one. But I mean, you know, it's been a long road for us, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we're traveling down that road.
So your book comes out on
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be for sale at dmaloney.com. Actually, the website is live right now, dmaloney.com. I have to test buy the book on there, but so far it seems like it's going to work fine.
Your website is up and running.
Yeah.
dmaloney.com.
Yeah.
Buy your book. Okay, so if you had to sell the book, like what would be the best line you would give? Like the most enticing part of the book? Like what would that be? That people don't know about you.
That people don't know about it.
Yeah, like reading the book. Like what do you think people are going to get out of reading the book? Like when they read it and they put it down and it's done. Like what are they going to say? Oh,
Yeah, I feel like it's a really captivating story. It's gonna pull you in. Like you're gonna pick it up. That's what anybody who's read it so far. They just like plow through it, and it's very captivating. You want to see. Oh my God, what happens next? Like I'm only in chapter 2, and all of this has happened already. What could possibly be coming up? Because it's just hit after hit after hit of
of you getting your ass kicked?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, getting into prostitution at the age of 16, that was pretty. That's a,
So you want to talk about that right now?
Sure.
You sure?
So
You want to talk about that with me? Because I got the fucking questions, man.
that was something that, I thought that I was going to go to my grave with. I never thought I would share that with someone. I was very embarrassed and ashamed that I had done that. But it was only through recovery and healing myself that I realized that I was a victim, that I was a child. I didn't make those choices with the mind of an adult. right? So then how can I be ashamed of myself for choices that I made?
So you were 16.
Yeah, I was just a few months shy of turning 17.
So any of the people you went to go see could be charged.
Well, I lied, so I had to lie about my age, that I was 18
Yeah.
to be considered legal. So, but I mean, yeah, they would have been charged, like back then, prostitution was illegal on the both sides, I think.
It
Now
is,
it's
yeah.
only illegal on the men's side. Women don't get charged for prostitution that are prostitutes because they're seen as victims.
Yeah.
But the men do get charged. But I think back then both people would have gotten charged.
But what made you decide to even go that route? Money?
Oh, because I wanted the money. Yeah, the money sounded so enticing. Like at 16 to get $100, $150 for a half hour, hour and a half of work. I was like,
So what's the most you ever made in a week?
I don't know. I've never calculated it before. I mean, I don't know. I could guess of like, over $1,000.
And you're not working too hard.
That would be like, yeah, a couple calls a day
Yeah.
for a few days, yeah.
But how do you get over something like that mentally? Like, do you feel like how is it something that you still feel like weighs on you?
No, because it feels like a lifetime ago. It feels like it happened to someone else. Like I don't feel like that same person. Everything about me has changed. It's like every cell in my body has changed. So I feel like I don't carry that with me anymore.
Are you worried that people are gonna judge the fucking shit out of you?
Yeah, so like one of the things I really think about is like lining up at a bike race
Mm-hmm.
and being in the pack of girls and like all of them thinking this is what goes through my head.
Mm-hmm.
There's the prostitute.
Well, it goes through my head too.
And
That
I was thinking about you too, yeah.
yeah.
My husband's gonna line up at a race and the guys are gonna be like,
Nah, I don't.
to the prostitute.
It's more the business side of it that worries me,
Yeah, I guess.
right? Like some of my clients watching this shit.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta respect someone, because I think you gotta make it clear. Like one of the biggest reasons that you're coming out is to help other women, right? Like, because you gotta think about like what is it? 1 out of every 3 women get fucked with.
Yeah, or sexually abused, yeah.
Right? So you got to think 1 out of every 3 women. And I mean, there's a scale of abuse, but 1 out of every 3, I keep saying 1 out of every 3 and then it sounds weird, but 1 out of every 3 women is sexually
I'm
abused.
not sure that's the exact statistic right now, but
Gotcha. But it's high.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's very high.
You're saying it could be lower?
I think it could be higher. I think
Really?
it's 1 and 2, but
That's fucking
you gotta
crazy.
think of all the stories too that don't come forward. Like there's so many people that
Mhm.
never come forward, and that was a big motivator for me to write the book. Is because everything hit me as an adult at one point, and I fell apart, and I had so much shame, and I was so scared, and I felt so guilty, and then I just thought like, shit, man, there's other women out here feeling like this. Like they're terrified, they're shamed, they're depressed, and they're not can't handle their life and what's happened to them, and they feel like they're not worthy of love. That's like this number one thing. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. And so I figure if I can own my story and I can say, yes, I did all of these things, but I still love myself and I am still worthy of love and I do love myself, then they can see themselves through my eyes and they can say, I'm worthy of love too. That's my hope, is that they read my book, the people that need it, that need to hear my story. I hope they read my book and to see that they are worthy. Because we're all worthy. We're here. We are born here, worthy of love.
And so is that what happens like with being victimized? Is it makes you feel like you're not
Yeah.
and not worthy of love like from your husband, love.
From anybody. From yourself, from from your friends, from your parents, from everybody. You feel like you don't deserve to be loved because you're disgusting.
And like so, but like that feeling of like don't deserve to be loved, like how does that actually work? Is that like something that's like deep down inside you and you just always feel it? Or it's like not on the front, like some guy doesn't come in for a hug, or it's not some guy, but like your husband or whoever comes in for a hug and you go, oh, I'm not worthy of this hug. Like, how does it actually like
No, I think it's
manifest?
more like if someone's treating you poorly, you accept the behavior because you
Mm,
think, well, yeah, I'm not deserving of love, so I'll just take what I can get. You take the crumbs, basically. You're willing to just take the crumbs.
gotcha.
Yeah. So,
No, that's crazy. All right, tell them about your book. I'm gonna go stop the dog from barking. I can't.
well, yeah, I'm just really excited to launch it. It goes through my life story, pretty much starting when I was a baby. Um, Trauma didn't really start until I was about 9 years old. And it goes through just how someone heals from it. And it was a long, drawn out process. Like, I was started when I was 9, and honestly, it's only been a few years since I felt completely healed. I would say, well, really the birth of Caden, because getting pregnant with him is what sent me into this like massive healing journey where I was in overdrive. Like I had to get it done right away because I felt like I can't bring him into this world and not be healed. I was already raising the other kids, feeling pretty okay about myself, but for some reason the pregnancy with him just sent me into this deep depression. I believe they call it prenatal depression, and I had never experienced that before. And I thought I need to get myself out of this because I knew that I couldn't be the best version of myself for my kids if I wasn't completely healed. And I didn't want to pass trauma down because we do that. And I've witnessed it, with my oldest daughter Monica, is I was not healed in any way, shape, or form in her formative years. And so I did pass down some trauma to her, and we're working through that now together. And I hope one day, actually, that we'll write a book together, on how to heal your mother wound. And I have kind of these dreams of how we will collaborate later in life. And I think it's going to be really beautiful. And she's really a powerful woman, and she's smart, and she's beautiful. And I see myself in her. Like when I look at her, I'm like, oh God, you're me. And so I know she's going to do great things. So, there's that second chance there that I have to do things over with her. And now with these younger kids that I've healed, they get the best version of me, which is this awesome kick-ass mom. Right, babe?
Yeah, I thought we got to check in before we talk about her.
No, but it was just a little tidbit. I think she'd be fine with it.
So, what do you think our biggest fight is?
Our biggest fight?
Yeah, like of all time.
Well, I think we already talked about it on here once. The PEI thing, that meltdown on the way home was pretty big.
I don't remember that exactly. What was that again?
We got into the fight. That was when Monica was staying home alone and we had left. And then we were driving back and we got into the big fight. I think we were in like New Brunswick or something. And I remember going out for a ride, and on the ride I'm thinking like, okay, this is it. Like our marriage could be over. Like we're at the brink here. Like we're hating each other right now. And I came back from the ride, and you were the level-headed one. I was like, listen, we need to sort this out. Like, what are we doing? We can't be fighting like this. We need to work this out. And then
I remember talking to your brother there. And your brother, Brad, he was telling me about like how spoiled you are. Huh? Like I spoil you,
yeah,
right?
you do.
And just think about like how that was feeding me, right? Because you got to think like our situation then,
Yeah.
and like I didn't even know what you were unhappy about. Like, what were you unhappy about at that time? Oh, I remember. It's because like I was checked out.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were struggling, like you were going through the transition with your dad of like removing him from your life.
That was on our way to PEI?
And we were struggling
No, that wasn't on our way to PEI.
on our way home.
No, because we didn't do that year. That was prior to leaving. That was 2016. No. That was 2017?
Yeah, because we got the house ready. Like that was
Oh, yeah.
She was working. She was 17 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was doing the eyelash business.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that particular time, though, I think what happened is like I said, on the way out, she had the guy in the house. That fucking loser. And he calls
You
you,
don't need to talk about the details of that. You can just talk about it.
right? But the details are the fight. We already said this on another podcast. Right? So anyways, we get into a fight on the way there.
Well, on the way there, that wasn't really that big of a fight. It was the way back that it boiled over.
No, because what happened was, on the way there, that shit really pissed me off. Right? On the way there, it really pissed me off. And so what would happen is I would be like, yo, I don't like this. Right? And then
I would brush it off.
you would be like, that's not a big deal. Who cares? What do you care about it so much? And like, so now we're talking about two things. We're talking about you're brushing me off, and that could be about anything. And now we're talking about the situation that's pissing me off. So then what I do is I go into like hiding. Right?
Hiding on your bike.
So I just, you could see anyone, okay, you're pissed off right now. I could see it. Why?
No, I feel a little bit tense.
Why?
I just want to be careful around the talk about Monica. So that's making me feel tense.
We gotta have her on.
Maybe, we'll see. She's on.
Did you ask her?
No, she's on her own healing journey buttons there. But I would love to have her on, of course. I would love to. So we'll see. She's coming for Halloween weekend, so maybe she'll do a guest appearance.
So some shit happens, pisses me off. You sweep it under the rug and treat me like it's no big deal and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which is what my
Is that our wounds
Oh, yeah.
that you got from childhood, most likely from your parents?
anything that my mom or dad did to me as a kid, if you would do it to me,
Yeah.
not, and I mean negatively,
Yeah.
like it would piss me off.
Yeah.
So
And sometimes you don't recognize it though.
No.
Like you're not like, oh yeah, that's my mom wound, right? You just,
like I'm checked out, and I don't think it's the 6 hours a day that pisses you off. I think it's like when I come back, I act like I want nothing to do with anyone,
yeah, you want to put your feet up and watch your show or whatever.
and then you're like bothering me if I'm watching my show and you're like, I fucking don't watch any TV anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then now you're building. And you're watching. Oh, he's on his phone again. Oh, he doesn't want to go to dinner. Oh, he doesn't want to do this. And then I think on the drive home, it just went fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it boiled over.
You know?
But we reined it back in.
There was a turning point for me. Because what happened was, like, the checking out thing. Like, I would get stressed.
Yeah.
And then I would check out. Right? And it wouldn't be like... It could just be anything going on. And, like, by checking out, I mean... I'm, like, focusing on my bike. I come home and I just want to watch shows. Or whatever I'm doing. I'm focused on that. And I think, well, you're doing your thing. You do your thing.
Yeah.
I'll do my thing. And then that was, like, really bothering you. And I think, like, for me, I need... for you to tell me something that I need to hear,
Yeah.
it can't be like, hey, hon, yeah, so, yeah, you know that thing where you kind of check out? Yeah, just stop doing that.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, I don't know if I'm not blaming it on you. I'm not saying you didn't. You know what I'm talking about. You remember? And then I was on my bike, you called me, we were having this chat, and you're like, I can't fucking do this shit with you. And then it, like, hit me exactly what I was doing. I'm like, when do I fucking not pay attention to you? When do I check out? Like, what are you talking about? When do I treat you like I don't? Because in my head, I love and care about you. I've dedicated my entire life to you and the kids.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're saying to me, you don't care about me,
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then there was this moment where you were like, you go through these periods where you act like you don't want to have anything to do with me.
Yeah.
And you said it in a certain way,
Yeah, you understood.
and then I just stopped doing it. Right?
Yeah, you have stopped doing it.
Right? It's weird. It's weird that you told me, and I'm like, okay.
That's interesting how sometimes, you can say something and it has to be said the right way, but the person gets it, It's
Yeah.
like that. It's like, with me when I was using drugs, like how did I stop? It was one person said one thing to me And what they said just snapped me out of it.
What kind of drugs you do?
Cocaine.
Ooh.
Crack.
You did crack? You smoke crack?
Very much.
Crack smoker? Come on. This is like when you're a kid, though, yeah?
Crack?
Yeah.
18?
Fucking crack, man.
Yeah, probably 18 was the last time.
You know, I saw that clip. Holy fuck, man. I saw that clip of Rob Ford. Yeah, I smoke crack. Smoke crack. It's a drunken stupor. Did it once.
Oh my god.
Huh? You got more balls than I do for saying all that shit.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what am I gonna do? Like, you know? I just, yeah, I want to end the stigma. Yeah.
Oh, what, crack smoking? Huh?
People can change.
You want to end the stigma of crack smoking? It's not that bad. Huh?
The stigma of the shame behind being a drug addict and ex-drug
I'm going to start calling you crack. I'm going to be like, oh, crack, we going for our ride? What's for dinner, crack? I'm just joking. So, no. Okay, so the stigma is that, like, the stigma you want to end is if you used to do some fucked up shit in your past, that's not who you are today.
It doesn't make who you are. Like, it made you who you are for sure, but it doesn't define who you are today. And you shouldn't be judged based on this.
Oh, but people would judge the shit out of you.
Yeah, and they will, and I'm okay with that because I'm lucky because I'm in a place in my life where it doesn't matter. Like, we're financially secure, stable, independent, and I don't need to go get a job or I don't need to, like, fit into any kind of circle or anything. I have the freedom really to say whatever I want now. So I'm in a place of privilege, 100%, and so I want to use that place to help other people that maybe don't have that kind of freedom to end the stigma, to say, look, like, I'm this amazing girl now, loving wife, community service, give back, and I did all that messed up stuff. So if I could change, we'd have to give second chances to other people too.
What about the email that you received from, we're not going to say who, one of our family members that said you shouldn't be airing your dirty laundry?
Yeah, I understand. I get it. I feel for them because they have unprocessed trauma and they haven't dealt with it, they're not ready to deal with it, so obviously I'm triggering things in other people, and I understand them feeling that way, and I think they have every right to feel that way. Because I went through this stuff, I don't throw anybody under the bus. I think I'm very compassionate in my writing, and I'm good with it.
Do you know what I think happens to women that are victimized?
What?
I watched this amazing documentary where women are raped in the army.
Yeah,
I said this on the other podcast, right? And the women, they interviewed all these women that were raped, and they said what was 100 times worse than the rape itself was that the institution that they pledged their life to didn't stand up for them. Abandoned them. And, like, so your story, if I start going too far down the road here, just, like, put a finger up.
Well, we're at time.
We're at time?
Start wrapping up. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say real quick.
Yeah.
What's interesting about your story, because it's out there that you were molested by a family member at 9 years old, and that's what led you down this path, right? Onto crack highway, right? So you were molested by a family member, right? What's so interesting about it is today, 30 years later, there are people in your family that believe it's your fault, that you lied, and that you're the reason the family is doing great.
And I'm okay with that because I know that that's their unprocessed trauma, and I accept it. And I've done a lot of work to have to move through that and to get over it and to be okay with it. And
I couldn't let that shit go. If it was me, and the people that didn't believe me, I would be like, yo, here's the proof.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I need to do that. I feel like I can share my story without having to go there.
Yeah. You know when I start saying some shit that I'm worried about saying, I start getting this feeling. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. That's what
You start
that's
saying shit,
that's
I get that feeling too.
that's what got me in trouble as a kid. That's what got me in trouble as a kid. I would start saying some shit that I knew got me like that's bad,
Yeah.
and then I would get this feeling.
Yeah.
And I think it's that feeling that you know what? Now I can't stand it. If I get too full, I'm like, fuck, I don't like that.
No.
So what's interesting is maybe as a kid, because there was all this like shit going on in my house, and I was always jacked up from the fighting and the, you know, I was listening to the cortisol, right? And the cortisol like jacks you up.
Yeah.
And so what I wonder is like when I would leave it and go to school, and everything would come down,
Yeah.
I'd want that. So I'd start saying some crazy. Start saying some crazy shit, and then I would see people like their eyes widen and get like crazy, and I'd be like, okay, I gotta keep fucking going on this.
Yeah, well, it's funny because there's a response, right? And when you've experienced trauma in your life, you actually thrive in trauma.
Yeah.
Until you heal yourself, so you feel comfortable there. Yeah, it's kind of messed up.
Well, it's like David Goggins' book. He had one of the most abusive fathers, literally beating him, his brother, and his mother on a regular basis, beating them. The mother finally left, moved into an apartment, which is her and the two boys. He developed a lisp and pissed the bed every night.
Yeah.
Just think about how crazy that is,
Yeah. So sad.
right?
Think of how many children out there are dealing with things like that, right? I can't even actually.
I don't know how you hurt a child. Like I look at my son, 8 years old. I don't know how you like. I get you getting pissed off. Like he's jumping around and he's noisy, and you're like, hey, stop fucking jumping. Or like I'll be sitting on the couch and he'll come up behind and start going like this, right? And I'll be like sitting right there, and I'll be like, dude, stop it, right? And then 2 minutes later, right? And I'll be like, dude,
Yeah.
right? But to like hit your kid, like fuck your kid up.
I know. It's terrible. Yeah, it's sad that it happens. But hopefully, people are healing their trauma out there.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, speak of the crazy little kids. Okay, guys, if there's anything you want us to talk about, let us know. Okay? Because, yeah, we want, like, really the reason we're doing this stuff is to try and get good content for you guys. Right? Like, is to entertain you guys and anyone watching it. And if there's something you like to hear us talk about or got any questions about our marriage or our life or Crack Highway, let us know, right? And we'll answer it. As you can tell, we're pretty open.
Transparent.
Yeah, fucking, yeah. Translucent. Okay. All right, guys.
Bye.
See you.